All right, we're ready.
Welcome to our official author podcast, everybody. I'm Anne from Inspirational Journeys.
And I'm Jen Lowry from Jen Lowry Writes.
And today we're going to talk about how our dreams can inspire our writing. Jen, do you want to start off?
I know that I've heard a lot of authors say this, Anne, it's not just you and I, that dreams have a way of infiltrating our heart and our mind. I don't know if it's our writing brain that just cannot cut off. And while we're asleep, we release some of that control and the creativity is continuing to flow. That pieces of books, of ideas, of characters, they show up to me in dreams. And that's how quite a few of my books have come to be. And it's from just a dream. How about you, Anne? What you got?
Yeah, same here, but it's not just books. Sometimes it's life. Like the other night, after we picked up Sharon for the second part of her summer break with me, I had this dream that I was riding a bicycle. I couldn't go backwards. All I could do was go forward. And I would go and start all over again, riding the bicycle where I was going. And then I'd keep doing that for a while. And I think, that had something to do with life. I'm moving forward. But not only that, sometimes our dreams you may not understand what they are at first because they're symbolic of something in the book. But as you think about the book, they make more sense later on.
Oh, yeah. And to me, when I see a character, that's when I get more excited, I think, than even a scene. Like when I just know that that character is existing in that type of shape and form to where I can remember even like these little nuances about the way, her face crinkled up or, and it gives me so much more depth when I'm sitting in front of the computer and I'm writing about the character. If I've dreamed her, it's more than just me going around, trying to take and Frankenstein people together or images together. She's a part of the dream that I have. And I think that it makes, I don't know, it just a little bit more real to me. I know that's odd saying dream and real in the same sentence, but
it's realism. Yeah. It's your subconscious.
yeah.
And like for me, I have dreams of a hospital, whether I'm in the hospital or something that I end up finding has something to do with the book.
Well, remember you were, and we can't do spoiler alerts, but there was one time you were struggling, weren't you, like with a piece of the book, and then you had a dream, and you were like, it made sense. I had a dream, now I got it.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't make sense at first, and then that Sunday morning that I was struggling with it, Sharon could tell you I was up at 5:30 writing that morning.
And I can tell you because you were texting me, and you were texting me, and you were going, "Hey, I had this dream. I got it figured out. I know what's happening." And I kept telling you, it was like pray about it, and then you dreamed about it and prayed about it, and it happened. Yeah. With the Hartwell Chronicles, I dreamed about the exorcism. So that one's my teenage exorcist book that's coming out. And I actually dreamed of Victoria walking into her sister's room and seeing her sister possessed. And having a dream like that is not going anywhere. That's staying with you. And I'm like, okay, I know this had nothing to do like with my real life. This isn't any kind of thing. This is a book idea. You want me to write this, Lord? And next thing I know, I rushed through that book last summer, had it done in no time, because I really felt like once that book became that one, interaction between those two characters became real, then the rest of the book was done. Like it was pretty much done. So that one came straight out of a dream. I would have never thought I'd have written an exorcist book. And that one was straight from a dream.
Wow.
Have you had a character or a book that came straight out of a dream from like nothing?
Not a book, but a story.
Yeah. Like a short story?
Yes, like the Salvador's Revenge, which I know I need to work on, but that one came straight out of a dream. That day that we were taking Sharon back to see her daddy last month, I actually sat and wrote most of that on the ride up there. And she did not think that I could write that book in 2.5 hours. I mean, that story in 2.5 hours. Well, there's some tweaking, but the bulk of it was written on my phone.
Did you
in
use
the
the
Yukon on the way.
Did you use the notes section of your phone?
I did.
And did you just transfer it over back into Microsoft Word when you got home?
What I did was I emailed it to myself, and then when I got home, I got the email, and then I transferred it to Microsoft Word, and edited it from there.
Awesome. Okay, so I met my students in 2019, my freshman class, and I had not had them long. It was probably a week. I could go back and look at the date of when I first wrote the original children's book. And it might have been a week or 2 weeks. And we were planning like this little literature circle. We were going to sit around in the carpet at the library, at the public library, me and my freshmen. I was going to make them go back in time. And we were sharing children's books that we loved. So I knew this lesson was coming up. Well, so that Friday was the end of school. You would think I wouldn't be thinking about teaching anymore. And I go to sleep. Next thing I know, I'm waking up the next morning and I had the community garden idea, and all of my students were in the book. Like all of my kids in my class were interacting as characters, and they all had distinct personalities. And I didn't know my babies long. It was at the beginning of the school year. So I went downstairs and I looked at Eli and I said, honey, I'm going to write a children's book. And he was like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, the Lord gave it to me in a dream. And I sat down that day and I wrote the children's book. And anybody that's listened to the podcast knows that when I wrote it, it was on a 7th grade level. It was a lot higher because I'm used to teaching high school. But I've worked on it over this past year. But that whole thing came from a dream. I used every one of my students' names in it as a character. And then I went on Canva just to make a print copy so I could make like I'm holding it in front of them and I'm flipping it and I'm reading it. And the kids loved it. And they loved it when they heard when it was their turn. And like, so I have a student named Sebastian, and I've called him, his last name was Simmons. So when I would say Sebastian Simmons, and that's really not his last name, but I made their last names in there. The kids would, it's my name, it's my turn. And they're 9th graders. Like, they loved it. And so I'm praising the Lord in advance because I'm going to get that children's book published with all of their names in it. It's a diverse, it's all about coming together in a garden and making something grow from nothing. So, yeah.
So are you going to send it to a traditional publisher, or are you going to do it yourself?
Well, I really wanted, remember that publishing company I was telling you about?
Peachtree Publishing.
Peachtree. I've been praying over it, and then I talked to another writing friend yesterday. Oh my, isn't it nice to have writer friends?
Yes, Lord help me.
I love you guys so much. And so I'm talking to one of my writer friends yesterday, and he writes children's books. And I'm really thinking I'm going to do this one on my own.
Okay.
I'm going to learn it. And between me and you and the fence post and anybody else that's watching this right now, I do draw a little bit, but I don't want to let people know that because they'll actually try to want to see what I can draw, which isn't 100%. But I'm actually.
Well, you just told everybody on the podcast and on YouTube.
So it's just us. It's just like the fam. We're like the family right now.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm an illustrator. I've never tried to illustrate a children's book. It could come out and be a complete disaster, or I could learn some tricks of it and figure it out and do it myself through Ingram's Bark. I'm really thinking about doing it.
That's why I want to do something like that through a publisher, or if somebody can do some pictures on Canva or something like that, because with the children's book, because I don't want to mess it up.
You don't want to mess it up? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Have you ever thought about doing just audiobooks for children?
No, because again, if you've heard some of my past podcast episodes, my reading out loud is really bad. I have to really, really practice and practically memorize because, like I said, trying to read with a braille display is just not, unless I sat there and I don't even know what my braille writer is, unless I sat there and brailled it out and made sure I didn't make any mistakes. I just don't have the best reading voice, though I've been told I have a voice for radio. I just don't.
What I'm saying is write the books and get someone to just read them for you and create audio books that could really be accessible to young blind readers too for audio, and it just be books from you.
I don't know I'd have to do some research on it because I don't know where to upload them. If they would have to be published and possibly be, and people would have to request that they be put through the National Library Service.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That there's a process. There's a process you have to go through. It still has to be published.
True. Well, look into the ebook format too. Look into it.
I plan on that, but ebooks, and I've listened to Joanna Penn. She was talking to a children's book author, and this is why I want to get Maggie's Gravy Train Adventure in print, because ebooks, children's ebooks, and I've seen this, they don't sell as well. You have to have the print first, and then have the ebooks for older readers who have tablets and stuff. But the print books sell a lot more with children's books.
I agree. I know there's a lady that I'm talking to right now, and she's looking for a place that does like board books. She already has 4 books, but she doesn't want paperback. Not paperback. She wants like the board books, the really like the toddler type books, and so she's investigating that side of the world.
She have to get an agent for that.
Yeah, so while we're learning all of this, who knows, that dream can come true. We keep talking out to the sky, and the Lord is listening. What I love about writer friends is that we don't hold anything back. Like, if we know something, we want to share it.
Right.
Like, if we've got advice or suggestions, we don't mind saying what we need to say and supporting each other and saying, well, hey, have you thought of this first? Well, have you done that? So, it's great to live in our dream world, but it's wonderful to have the writing friends around you to share the dreams with.
Right, because you got to get out of your head and get into reality, and get with other people so you don't get lost in your dreams.
Yeah. So I'll say that's one thing about with me holding back all of those years. I had all those dreams about the books, and I had them all there, and I was just so scared to try. And now that I've opened up that part of myself, and I'm just saying, Lord, give me the words. What is it that you want me to write next? They just keep coming. The new book did not come in a dream, but it came in a song.
And you're like me too. Speaking of music, I know we're on dreams, but sometimes music plays in my dreams too. But speaking of music, you said something on your podcast the other day, and I'm like, girl, you're so much like me, because sometimes a song will get stuck in my head. It may not be part of the playlist, but it'll end up in the book. Yes,
I'm telling you. I know that. I know when I was so sad because I love the characters in this Scottish YA trilogy that I just finished, and I was having to say goodbye to them. And my writing friend Pooja, she warned me too. She was like, as soon as you say goodbye to one character, the Lord is going to give you another character. The Lord will be there. And sure enough, I'm sitting there and I'm really sad and I'm praying, and all of a sudden that song started just singing, and I just blurted it out loud. And my whole book is set in the 1980s. So this was a 1960 song. And I'm like, where did that come from? Like, really, it wasn't like it was a commercial playing. It just came out of the blue from 1960s. And I'm like, okay, God, is that my next book? Is that what you want? And after 2 days, I'm almost finished with the book.
Wow. Honestly, I'm not that close.
Like to me, I can't hold back anymore. Like before, I used to hold myself back so much that now I feel like I'm not wasting any more time. I'm just going to write and write and write what the Lord continues to give me in a dream or in a song or in an idea or whatever, but I can't sit on them anymore.
Mm-mm. And if I could, I'd love to record at least, maybe not write my own songs, because I have one that I've written for sure. I had another one I wrote, but I scrapped it because it was a part of my life that I know God gave it to me, but I unless I still have it, I think I scrapped it. But anyway, I had that one about creative dreaming, but I could do hymns and stuff because I love to sing, but I just don't know. It takes a lot of money to do that, and I don't know of a studio around here except for one in Macon, but that's the only one I know around here that would actually do it. But I could, if I could, I would record at least an album of hymns.
I remember you saying that, and that's a dream too. That
Right.
Like I love to sing too. We're so much in common. We have so much in common, Ann.
Yeah, we do. I swear, you're part of my sisterhood.
I know. Just to think, it all started with a podcast, and
I
here we are
know.
now making podcast videos together. And you've got your Inspirational Journeys podcast up and running and interviewing all these authors. I mean, that's a dream come true. Because you know what?
Yes.
I wish I could look it up right now. The first time we had our podcast, I don't know what day it was. I'm trying to look. And you said
it was March 13th or March 12th one.
And you said the first one that we did?
Yeah, March the 12th when you interviewed me.
Gosh, I feel like I've known you forever, Ann.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so March, are you kidding?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Before I even started my podcast.
I feel like I've known, like, seriously. Y'all, Ann's my girl. Y'all listen to podcasts. Y'all hear me talk about Ann all the time. What is Ann? Hey, Ann.
Hey.
So if it was March, okay, I'm going back. I'm looking. I'm in March.
I was sitting out on the front porch.
March the 12th. You are right. Oh my
Yep.
gosh. Ann, give me a hug through your heart.
Oh my gosh, it was so cool.
Do you remember in March when you were like, you know what? I just dream about doing this podcast.
I know, and I didn't know how in the world I was going to do it, and I kept listening to podcasts and to do research. I still have a few that I listen to every now and then, but not nearly as many now.
But you would say, well, this podcast and that podcast, and I would be like, shame. I'd be like, I don't know who she's talking about. Let me Google these people. Let me find out who these people are. And you would just roll it off all these podcast people. And then,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I was going to say, go ahead.
I was going to say, then you're rolling off all these names. Then next thing I know, you're saying, oh, and I think I'd like to have my own podcast one day.
Yep, and then I'm going to have to change the list of podcasts that I listen to because I stopped listening to some of that stuff because it was just time consuming. And a lot of it, I mean, like I said, some of them I couldn't keep up with. And some of them was like, so much of it was like futuristic kind of stuff. And I had to take, and some of the language on some of those podcasts was just too much, and I had to take them off my list.
I have like a select few of people that I really like to watch on YouTube. So I do my YouTube work, and I'll have their videos playing. And I like Mandy Lynn and Bethany Adazada. I've subscribed to both of their channels, and I listen to all of their videos. But I have like 10 different authors that are indie authors that are out there on YouTube. And so I don't listen to the podcast. I do the YouTube videos. But and I listen that way, and I'll just have it playing. I'll have them playing up while I'm typing. I'll have them in the background. But just thinking about you with like your dreams, and then that you're here doing it, like that was just March, and look at you. Like, look how much you've accomplished since March.
A month later, I started the podcast.
Do you think that was a good catalyst for you, just to say it out loud?
I think so. And then talking to other blind people who have used Anchor, which, to be honest with you, for those listening to us, Anchor has improved their podcast so much since I started.
Yeah.
Now, even the website's gotten, there's one unlabeled button, but even the website has gotten to the point where it's a lot more accessible. And the app, all the buttons are labeled now.
Well, good. There
Yeah.
you go, Ann. There you go. Found you a
And now you
place.
can add search tags.
Oh, I know. We can add 5 search tags at the end,
Mm-hmm.
which I hope that can, draw more people to them if that's how they're going in just saying like author podcast.
Yeah, they find they look at the search tags, they search for those keywords. I try to use search tags that and you can go back and add them if you can't add them from the website. You can go back to the app and add them. But I try to add those search tags, so that way people can find me. And I think that has helped some.
Good, good. I know that I think one of the worst things we can do is have a dream and it's a goal and we keep it to ourselves.
Exactly. It'll never happen if we do that.
I mean, it's good writing it in a journal, don't get me wrong. I got my journal right here and it's filled with notes. I got 2 pages of notes just today in my journal. So I'm not saying don't journal. I mean, you know how I feel about journaling. You've done Happy Renewal.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about journaling, it's great, but you still need to speak those goals out loud. You got to have the courage to say it because something happens when it gets out there.
Right. It does.
I think so too. All right, so I'm excited to know that my boyfriend's back is almost finished. I'm going to close off my side of the podcast soon because I want to get back to typing. I'm right in the middle of chapter 10, which means that's kind of like if you think about the roller coaster of how a book works and its framework. I'm right up at the climax part where it's getting really good and I got to see what happens next because I have no clue what's happening next because I don't plot either.
I do a little bit, but I'm on chapter 61 of my mystery and my rewrites because I had some really long chapters and I had to take them down and I had to rework a lot.
Yeah.
But I got like 3 chapters, even though I was feeling kind of sick Monday, my stomach was not feeling so great. Monday night I did 3 chapters in 3 hours.
Good. That's good.
Tuesday I did most of 1 chapter. Today I finished a chapter and did 2 more.
Wow, you're on a roll, Ann. You with me. You up with me, girl.
I know, and I started doing it. I want to get this done before the month is out. I've got an interview to do Tuesday. Then I've got one on the 19th and the 22nd. So those are the only 3 interviews this month. I've got one next month. And she reached out to me. So anytime I can spend on this book, I know I need to market my Smashwords sale. By the way, if you guys look for my books on Smashwords, A Journey of Faith, A Stepping Stone's Mystery, Maggie's Gravy Train Adventure, Inner Vision, and Stories Outside the Box, which are all electric eclectic books. You guys look for those on smashwords.com. You will find a link. You will find them, and the prices are cut in half. They're originally $3.99. You'll get your coupon code at checkout, and you'll get them for $2.
Oh, fancy, Ann. You're fancy. She's giving out deals, y'all. Y'all better
I'll send you the link.
Yeah, send me the link.
I'll send. Okay, and I'll put it on my description too, because I got to go get it and I'll send it to you so that we can both add those. I'm giving deals out on this podcast, y'all.
Y'all, listen. First time I heard about it with you. Y'all can't miss Ann's work. I just love you, Ann, and I love what you're doing to spread the message of Jesus.
Yep.
Encouraging and inspiring people wherever you go. So I just want to say thank you for being my writing pal.
Thank you for being my writing pal and being part of my sisterhood. I think you might want to definitely try to and send out an invitation when you get a chance to get other guests on the podcast. Christy Bridges is one you're going to want on the podcast, okay. And then she'll review you on hers because she's amazing too.
Awesome.
She's part of our network.
And see, this is what happens when you surround yourself with writing friends. They hook you up, you're hooking them up, and it's just your whole community just continues to build and grow, and you can trust that community. Like I've got like Ann, I can vent with Ann. Here I am, like I can text Ann And I'll be like, Ann, I got to tell you what happened with this cover. And Ann puts up with me. And then when I found the
And not only that, you posted on your podcast.
and then when I found a wonderful cover designer with Jessica, I'm going, Ann, it's brilliant. It's beautiful. I finally got it. And so I know Ann's over there praying for me.
Yep.
While I see all the dreams in my head, and I'm not a graphic designer, I see them all, and then finally finding the perfect person that I can say, okay, this is what this looks like, and she puts it to paper. That's a dream come true. Tell me about it. Oh, but well, all right, Ann, I'll check you out later. Guys, Ann, I'm challenging you, Ann. We need to make more of these little videos like this. We just need to pop in. This was not planned. You guys know we don't script anything. And we just love to talk and just share and just check in. Might as well check in with all of you while we're checking in with each other. So Ann, I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. You want us to close out with a challenge, or you want me to do it?
Well, I just challenged you for us to do more of these. So you do a challenge. Go, go.
All right. So today we challenge you to go out there and read to get inspired. Write something inspiring and share your creation with the world. For when you've touched one life, you've touched 1,000. Thanks for joining us today, and have a blessed one.
All right. Bye, guys. Bye, Ann. Love you.
Bye.